This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
We are in a weather alert tonight with life-threatening temperatures across the bi-state. Our Weather First team is also tracking some snow this evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
I'm Kelly Jackson. We are under a wind chill advisory. The bitter cold and dangerous wind chills will continue through tomorrow. Let's get a look at the forecast with meteorologist Jim Castillo.
Yeah, it's going to be really cold all the way through at least noon on Tuesday. So the wind chill warning up north and a wind chill advisory in the metro till noon tomorrow. And those current temperatures, we're in the single digits right now. You factor in that wind that we have out there, and it feels like almost 10 below in a couple of spots. Yesterday morning, we had even areas of almost 30 below zero in the metro, and those areas of snow that whatever falls sticks. And that's what we're seeing now in Gasconade County. Also a little bit right here, Jefferson County, southern Jefferson County, and into southern Monroe County. We'll zoom in there first. So south of Olympian Village and then really south of Festus along 55 as you head down towards St. Genevieve. And again, you might see a dusting in some areas, and this around Herman to Warrenton and all the way back into Jefferson City. That's all moving east toward the metro. So again, can't rule out those flurries or that chance of seeing a dusting in the forecast. So that is the evening forecast for you. Watch out for slick spots. Wind chills 10 to 25 below zero again tomorrow morning. Not as cold Wednesday. We'll talk about that, but then another Arctic piece comes our way for late Thursday into Friday. More on that in just a few minutes.
All right, we will see you in a few, Jim. Tonight, people who live in a downtown St. Louis apartment building say they don't have heat or hot water as frigid temperatures continue.
5 Inch Ice Diamond Palmer talked with some of them, and she tried to get answers from building management. How did it go, Diamond?
Well, Mike and Kelly, that's right. Residents at Arcade Apartments say their heat stopped working around 4 a.m. Saturday morning, and some of those residents even say their water stopped coming out hot instead cold or lukewarm. Now, more than 24 hours later, some residents say the heat is back on, but others say they're still struggling to stay warm. Residents inside the Arcade Apartment say their thermostat read 60 degrees over the weekend. Many blame the issue on management, saying it's a problem after problem when it comes to utilities not working during extreme cold or extreme heat. Kevin Edwards and other residents in the building managed to stay warm by using an electric blanket, space heaters, and wearing multiple layers of clothing. Some residents even risked their safety by using an oven to heat their apartment. Residents say that they didn't receive any notifications from management and want to see better communication in the future.
We live here, talk to us, answer our questions, just care about us, because this is awful. You can't just let us freeze all weekend and then not show up on Monday morning.
Now, I have reached out to the apartment directly and left a voicemail. However, I called Dominion Management, the company who manages Arcade Apartments, and their phone played a recording saying it wasn't in service.
We have an update on a story we've been following since early this morning. Seniors in Midtown Apartments are dealing with frozen pipes, no heat, and flooding. 5 on your side's Andy Crawl was there asking what you can do to help.
This is the scene that residents woke up to on Monday morning. Ceilings falling in, water all over the floor, and now people are worried about it freezing over considering how cold it is in the building. Single-digit temperatures, freezing water pipes at the Heritage House Apartments on Olive Street in Midtown before midnight. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the property manager and other aides were doing wellness checks on folks still inside their apartments.
I've only been back in here for a couple of minutes. My hands are already cold, even though I'm layered. So I can only imagine what the residents are dealing with. Last minute notice to just pack up and move. So again, socks, clothes, coats, anything, heaters, anything to help these people. That's what we're asking for.
These are some of the 7 trucks sitting outside of Chance to warm up as they continue to wait for their heat to come back on. Reporting in Midtown, Annie Crawl, 5 on your side.
Tonight, crews are searching for a missing person after a fire in North St. Louis. It happened this afternoon on Athlone Avenue near O'Fallon Park. Fire crews tell us they couldn't get into the building at first because of possible hoarding. Crews are still trying to find the missing person. If they can't tonight, they will do a canine search of the building when it has cooled down. That will likely be tomorrow morning.
Today was the last day of the Cardinals winter warm-up, and fans got to meet some of their favorite players ahead of the season.
And our Corey Miller also caught up with the team's owner. Corey joins us now in studio.
It is not an overstatement to say that 2023 was uncharted territory for the Cardinals as a franchise. It was the first year since 2007 the team finished with a losing record, and the 71 wins were an all-time low in the DeWitt era. Nobody wants to continue that trend. The reality of last season has been fresh on everyone's mind at winter warm-up. The adjectives motivated and hungry were used quite a bit. DeWitt and Mozeliak did open up the pocketbook a bit this offseason with pitching additions Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson. And the owner thinks the new look rotation will achieve the boost the team needs.
I think it was just one of those years where, you know, what could go wrong did go wrong. And you have years what could go right did go right. Baseball's an interesting game that way. I think Mo and his team did a good job of filling some holes that we had and you know, getting us in a position where we can be, you know, competitive for the in the division and you know, in the league.
There was also a ton of talk from the DeWitts today about the future of the Cardinals on TV. The owner said they expect to be on Bally's for the entirety of this season, but are looking at all options as the cable rights situation continues to evolve in the coming years.
All right, Corey. Well, today we honor and celebrate civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. More than 60 years have passed since his iconic I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington. His long fight for equality and unity still have a huge impact across the world today. He was assassinated in 1968 by a fugitive from the Missouri State Penitentiary. MLK Day always falls on the third Monday in January, and this year it happens to fall on his actual birthday.
And today there were celebrations across the country. His son, Martin Luther King III, participated in a wreath laying. This was at the MLK Memorial in Washington, D.C. MLK Day is also a national day of service. People are encouraged to volunteer, and that's how President Biden spent the day in Pennsylvania, volunteering at a food bank. And the vice president attended a NAACP event in South Carolina.
Here in our area, there were more celebrations. There was a service at St. Louis City Hall. Then there was a march and motorcade followed by a wreath laying at Harris Stowe State University. The theme was keeping the dream alive for the next generation. And you can read more about Dr. King's life and legacy. Just text MLK to 314-425-5355.
Coming up, more on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We verify how a Stevie Wonder hit is tied to the civil rights icon.
The Iowa caucuses are happening today. We explain whether voters have a history of picking winners.